The more you resist, the worse they will get. The worse things will get. The worse things will become. The more you resist, the worse things will get. There is a massive shift, my beauties, happening right now. There's a massive shift right now that is happening. And we are being asked what is important to us, what works for us, what do we love, what does love look like for us, what does peace and happiness and abundance, right? What do those things look like for us? So the more you resist the change that is happening, the harder things will be or become for you. The harder things will be or become for you, right? So collectively, there's a massive shift that is happening right now. And if you're not in alignment with who you are, who you've been called to be, right, then you are going to possibly experience this shift more than other people. It's going to hit you harder than it will for other people. And I want you to imagine it this way. If you had a task, say for instance, a high school or college project, right? And it was a project that they gave you 6 months to do, right? They gave you 6 months to complete this project. But you thought, oh, this ain't going to be that hard. I can do this in a couple of weeks and I'll be fine, right? The last 2 months I can work on it and I'll be good, right? And so you overestimated your hand. You underestimated the reality of the project, right? And so you get down to the last 6 to 8 weeks before the project is due and you start working the project and you start seeing that it takes a lot more time and energy and effort than you thought it was going to take to complete the project, right? And so you get down to the last week of doing the project and everything's hitting you left and right. You're stressed out, you're worried, you're having to stay up all night, so you're not getting any sleep. So you're drowsy throughout the day at school, right? Your grades are dropping and you're missing assignments and you're doing bad on tests and quizzes and right? All because you got to the end of the 6 months that you were given to do a thing and you underestimated the reality of the project and you overplayed your hand, right? And so I say all of that to say, in life, we tend to not make the necessary changes and things that we're being asked to make from one day to the next. And then we get to the end of a cycle, and every change that we were expected to make, everything that we were supposed to learn from that experience and grow in, right, through that experience, it hits us all at once. And now we're stressed out. We're up all night. We're having bad dreams, and we're experiencing everything that should have happened in 6 months all in 2 weeks or in 1 week or in 1 month. We're experiencing it all at the same time. The more you resist the change, the worse it becomes, the harder it becomes. And so going back to the same project, right? This person resisted the change that was being asked, right? This person resisted the change that was being asked. This person had to change their schedule, change their routine, change their daily activities, right? But instead of doing that, they decided to wait until the end of the project. They didn't make any of the necessary changes or necessary adjustments to make sure that the project would get in on time with little to no stress. How many of us right here and now are waiting until the last 6 weeks, waiting until the last 8 weeks of a project to try to force everything in all at once? How many of us are resisting the changes because we don't want to make the necessary daily adjustments for a long-term goal, gain, right? Evolving, right? That we're wanting. How many of us are resisting the necessary changes, right? And so one day it may require you to do something for an hour, right? So you might not get to watch TV for that hour like you normally do, right? You might have to give up 20 minutes of sleep another day, or you might have to give up junk food, right? Or, right? And so it's just like, how many of us are resisting the changes while we're praying and manifesting and asking for certain things to come into our lives? The more you resist, the harder things become. The more you resist, the harder things become. The more you resist, the harder things become. And I say this because I was also in this place of praying and asking and wishing and hoping for certain things, but didn't realize that I was not preparing myself for what it was that I was asking for. I wasn't doing the work. I was doing busy work. Stop doing the busy work, my beauties. The more you resist, the harder things become.